Good evening to one and all present here. This is Roopsha Ahmed, Executive Member at Legal Vidya, and I am delighted to welcome to today's live webinar titled Law Across Borders, India, USA, Path to Becoming an International Lawyer. About Legal Vidya, founded in 2021, Legal Vidya is an online legal edtech platform committed to strengthening legal education and professional development. We offer a range of opportunities including internships, workshops, webinars, courses, and article publication, all aimed at building a dynamic and informed legal community. About the webinar, in an era legal boundaries are rapidly dissolving, cross border legal knowledge is no longer optional, it's essential. This webinar is taken to law students, aspiring global lawyers, and professionals looking to explore legal systems beyond their home jurisdiction. Participants will gain a comparative understanding of the Indian and US legal systems, highlighting key differences such as India's common law roots and the USA's federal legal structure. The session also introduces the foundations of international law, discusses its present day relevance, and dives into career opportunities in global legal practice, whether through cross border litigation, arbitration, or corporate advisory roles. We will explore the roadmap to becoming an international lawyer, qualifications required, challenges in navigating multiple jurisdictions, and practical guidance on building a global legal career. Whether you're looking to widen your legal lens or step into international legal practice, this session will act as a crucial stepping stone. About the speaker, we are honored to have with us Ms. Krina Modi, a dual qualified attorney licensed to practice in both India and the state of New York, USA. Ma'am began her legal journey in Mumbai, earning her LLB from KC Law College and practiced law in India, where she gained valuable courtroom experience and client handling expertise. In 2016, she pursued her LLM from Fordham University School of Law, New York, a renowned institution for international comparative legal studies. Soon after, she successfully cleared the New York bar exam on her first attempt, demonstrating exceptional legal commitment and competence. Currently practicing in New York, she represents transport network companies in complex auto accident litigation. Her previous roles also include defending clients in high stakes matters, always bringing a strategic cross jurisdictional approach to each case. Her rich experience across two legal systems makes her uniquely placed to guide us through the realities and pathways of international legal practice. We encourage all the participants to stay engaged and feel free to drop your questions in the chat box during the session. A Q&A round will be held at the end to address your queries. Now, without further ado, I would invite Ms. Prerna Modi ma'am to kindly take over and guide us to today's enlightening discussion.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Rupsha, for the introduction. As Rupsha introduced, I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of New York, and I am a lawyer in India too. I don't practice in India anymore, but I used to before I moved to USA. Um, I am going to share a PowerPoint presentation, which will help you guys to see what I am going to talk about today, especially international law and laws in New York. I'm going to share my screen. Just a second, I'm sharing my screen with you. Um, Hold on a second. I don't know why the screen is not coming up. Okay, can you see the screen?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
I don't know what's wrong. Now?
No, ma'am.
Now you can see the screen?
No, ma'am. No,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
visiting event coordinator would help.
Yeah, they're saying me that I'm not permitted to share screen or something. Can Rupsha help? I think you need to give me a permission to share my screen or something.
The permission is given, ma'am.
Okay. I'm still not able to present my screen for some reason. I had shared my PowerPoint with Legal Vidya too, if you guys can share. Rupsha? Can you?
Ma'am, where did you send the PPT?
I had emailed to Paras.
Okay, ma'am.
I will still try.
Ma'am, could you please rejoin? I guess that will fix the problem.
You want me to rejoin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Is my screen visible, everyone?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay, ma'am, you may start now.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Sorry for the glitches. Can you go to the first slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you'll have to change the slides now because I was not able to share. All right, so thank you thank you all for joining today, and I apologize for the internet glitches. For some reason, I wasn't able to share my screen. As Rupsha introduced me, I completed my LLB from KC Law College, Mumbai. In 2016, I went to New York to do my LLM from Fordham University School of Law. I did LLM for a year. I took the bar exam, and now I'm practicing in a New York-based law firm. It's an insurance defense law firm. An insurance defense has a lot of types, and one of the type that I practice is representing transportation rideshare companies in their auto accident cases. But I will get into what I do later in the webinar, but let's get into the basics. Rupsha, can you go to the second slide? Hey, Rupsha, can you go to the second slide? So, as I said, I have practiced law in India as well as I'm practicing in New York. I would say that laws of both the countries are different, and each country has their own unique legal system. There are five main types of legal systems: civil law, common law, customary law, religious law, and mixed and hybrid system. Common law is the most type of law that most of the countries practice. India follows mixed legal system that primarily draws from common law, which is influenced by British legacy. Since British ruled India, we just follow, or we had our own law into it, and then uh, we incorporated civil, customary law, and religious law. Whereas United States also follows common law system. However, unlike Indian legal system, United States operates in both federal system and state court system. So in United States, each court has their own legal system, has their own Supreme Court, and they have their own structures and laws. So the state court, where the state court has their own laws, and when the issues are country issues of federal, like immigration, bankruptcy, they fall into federal legal system of United States. I will further explain how United States court system is structured. Rupsha, you can go to the third slide. United States legal system is structured this way. As you can see in this, the first is United States Supreme Court. Supreme Court is the highest court in United States, and it is in Washington, D.C. Supreme Court then has, below Supreme Court, you will see United States Court of Appeals and United States District Courts. However, the other side, you can see state Supreme Courts, intermediate appellate courts, and state trial courts. These are all the state courts. So if you have a lawsuit in New York, you go to the New York Supreme Court and you file your lawsuit there. This legal system of United States, as I mentioned in my before slide, is federal and state system. So all the state laws are governed by the own states, and all the state laws have their own, all the states have their own laws. Like New York will have their own law relating to the accidents, relating to personal injury. Personal injury is a very big step. It's a very big law in United States. This is the difference I have seen in United States and in India. In India, personal injury is not practiced very widely, where in United States it is. So slip and fall cases, trip and fall cases, if you fall off while walking, you can sue the city. That is very common in United States. So this is the basic legal system in a picture that I have shown. You can go to slide 4, Ruksha. As I mentioned before, this is the basic idea of how USA legal system is. The United States has a constitution-based federal government. Federalism means that the government is divided into 2 levels: federal, that is national level, and the state level, as I mentioned before. The federal level, the Constitution establishes 3 branches of government: executive, legislative, and judiciary. And there are 50 states in the United States, and each of the 50 states has its own state constitution, government structures, court, and state-specific laws. So each state has their own structure, has their own court system. In New York, New York Supreme Court is not the highest state court. New York Appellate Court is the highest state court. What I'm trying to tell here is each state will have their own court system. The Constitution gives certain enumerated powers to the federal government, and those powers are not vested with the federal government, but remain with the states. Federal and state court comprises the judicial branch of the government. The highest court of the land is United States Supreme Court, which I said is in Washington, D.C. Each state has equivalent state Supreme Court, which represents the ultimate authority on the law of that state. Federal courts have jurisdiction over federal laws and disputes that arise among states or between citizens of different states. So you go to federal court when there are 2 people of different states, the federal laws apply. So if there is immigration is an issue of the entire US, and that's why immigration is federal law. So the states would not have their own immigration law. Immigration law is practiced by the whole United States, and the law is same for each and every state. State courts would have jurisdiction over matters pertaining to their own state laws. If there is conflict between federal and state laws, the federal law prevails. So the federal law is the highest law. So if the state laws say something and the similar thing is noted by the federal law would prevail. When federal courts adjudicate cases arising under state law, the state's substantive law applies. So unlike in India, in US, you have state-wise law. As I said, in India, you can practice in any state, but in US, to practice in a particular state, you have to follow that state laws. United States has 51, as I said, United States has 51 different legal systems. One, a federal system, and other 50 come under the state system. The federal and state legislatures are lawmaking bodies of the government. At the federal level, the national legislature is called the Congress, which consists of the Senate and the House of Representatives. Member of either chambers can introduce legislation, but both the houses of Congress must pass the legislation before it becomes a law. So to pass a law, it has to go from Senate and House of Representatives, and that becomes a federal law. But as I said, the state will have their own laws, and the federal, unless that law is really unethical, the federal law will not apply to that state, the state law will apply. Within the executive, as mentioned here, the government is divided, as said, that there are 3 branches: government, executive, legislative, and judiciary. The executive branch, The highest officer on the federal level is the President of United States. The executive power of the President includes the power to approve legislation, negotiate, sign treaties, appoint federal judges, appoint cabinet and senior officers of the government, and act as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. At the state level, governors are the chief executives. So each state has their governor, whereas on the federal side, the president is the highest office holder. Then we come down to the judicial branch of the government. The judicial branch of the government has federal and state court that comprises of the judicial branch. The highest court of the land, as I said, is the United States Supreme Court, and each state has their own Supreme Court as well. Federal courts have jurisdiction over federal laws and disputes that arise among states, as I mentioned here. You can go to the next slide. So up till now, we discussed how United States court system is, how is the United States country legal system is comprised of federal and state courts. Now we'll talk now we'll talk more about international law. So there are private law firms that practice international law that involves international businesses, transaction, drafting contracts, researches, international rules and customary laws, representing companies with global presence in litigation, arbitration, and mediation. The businesses that have their business presence in US, in different countries like UK, India, etc., there are law firms that practice international law. So they guide the business owners in drafting their contracts, in researching international rules. If you have a business in India, you're starting a business in the United States, you need to have a law firm that practices, attorneys that practices international law to guide you in drafting the contracts of that business transaction, researching how to start up your business in the United States. International law also includes mergers, acquisition, corporate governance, patents, international arbitration, when there are international disputes. And if there is an arbitration clause in your contract, you come under international arbitration, intellectual property law. I read this good article on international law. There is a link there, which I recommend all of you to read, which tells how international law is now, international law was once just defined as a compilation of rules governing relations between the state, but now how international law has evolved as the businesses are increasing, businesses are expanding, increasing, and that's why the international laws have been is not just a compilation of rules, it is more to it. So international law is distinct, international law is a collection of rules governing relations between states. That's the basic definition of international law. When international law, that's the classic definition. But now that definition is no more valid because it's more than that. It's more than compiling rules and regulations. It is a mark of how far international law has evolved that this original definition omits individuals and international organization. Two of the most dynamic and vital elements of modern international law are in individuals and international organizations. As I said, businesses and even individuals sometimes get into international laws. Furthermore, it is no longer accurate to view international law as simply collection of rules. Rather, it is rapidly developing complex of rules and influential through not directly binding principles, practices, and assertions coupled with increasing sophisticated structure and processes. In the broadest sense, international law provides normative guidelines as well as methods, mechanism, and a common law conceptual language to international actors, like states, but also increasingly international organizations and some individuals. International law also include legal order, and not, it has also been influenced significantly by ethical principles, concerns, particularly in the sphere of human rights. So international law is no more, as I said, only rules and regulations. Now, even the business organizations have been involved in international law. So as I said, if you have businesses in various countries, you need to follow the laws of that country, and that's where the international lawyer comes into picture to help you draft. I just got a message. I would like to request to use English. Sorry. To use English and Hindi both to understand, not just to listen. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you want me to use Hindi as well. Do I use Hindi and English both, or just English? Okay. Oh, some people are saying only English. Some people are saying both. I'll try to use Hindi as well. Oh, just English. Okay, most people are saying I can use just English. But if you have any questions, you can ask or you can reach out. So there will be a question and answer. So if there's something that's difficult to understand, you can ask me questions. That's fine. And I'll try to use Hindi if people prefer Hindi as well. So I lost my grip. So yes, as I said, this PowerPoint presentation will be shared with everybody. So I would recommend to read this article about international law, which says that how international law was evolved from just being rules and regulations to now being involved with international businesses and individuals. The one more branch of international law is compliance. I did my LLM in corporate compliance, and that's why I know more about compliance. So compliance is one of the branch of international law. So when you are practicing international law, you need to comply certain rules and regulations when you draft contracts, when you draft contracts, or when you are drafting your company's rules and regulations, you need to comply with laws of the country. Can we go to the next slide? Rupsha, can we go to the next slide? So international compliance refers to the process of ensuring that businesses, operations, policies, practices adhere to legal requirements and regulations of multiple countries. So when you're practicing international law, you are representing a business that is having their business in various countries. You need to comply that the business operations, policies, and practices are complying the legal requirements and regulations of all the countries that you have your business in. That includes everything from labor laws, tax obligations, to data protections, in environmental standards. So in the course of their business activities, companies must not only observe national compliance legislation in international transaction, the rules of other individuals and countries are also binding. So for example, if you have a business in India and you want to start the same business or the branch of that business in United States, you need to follow the laws of United States as well. So you need to comply with the laws of United, taxing laws, data protection laws, labor laws. USA has a wide rules about labor laws. So you have to abide by those laws. abiding by Indian law, because your business is expanding from India to US, you are following the laws of both the countries. And that's when the international lawyer and compliance come into picture, where you have the compiled laws of India and US. In US also, as I said, if your business is in New York, you're following New York laws. If your business is in some other state, you're following that state laws. It is advisable for companies to hire a risk and compliance analyst, a compliance officer internally, or employ a law firm to ensure regulatory risk and compliance. As I said, there are law firms that practices international law, they practice compliance, they help you draw up your contracts, they help you draw up the rules and regulations of both the countries. Since they are international lawyers, they have knowledge of both the countries, so they help you draw the compliance rules, regulations, and you have to follow them since you have businesses in both the countries. There are numerous international regulations. We have summarized the most important ones for you. You can go to the next slide. You can go to the next slide, Rupshi. So while drawing up the different laws, companies not only observe national compliance legislation in international transaction, the rules of other countries involved are also binding. As I said, wherever you are starting a business, the rules of that country, the rules where your business is originally started, and the rules of all the countries that your business is, all the rules and regulations apply. And international lawyers help you to guide through those rules and regulations that you need to follow. So that is the reason you need to employ a law firm and to ensure regulatory risk and compliance. These are some of the list of some of the acts that a compliance officer will have you look at them or have you draw up to have your international business. A UK Bribery Act. UK Bribery Act imposes penalty if you have a business in UK and in India. This UK Bribery Act will apply. It creates a corporate offense of failing to prevent bribery. Companies can be prosecuted for failing to have adequate anti-bribery procedure in place. You need to have, these are some of the acts that you need to have in your business, and you need to comply with these acts if your business is international, like you have multiple, your businesses in multiple countries. I will not go expand on each of these laws. I will provide you this link and you can have a look at these laws, but some of the laws that I would like to mention more about is Foreign Corrupt Practices Law that entered in 1977. Since 1998, FCPA also applies to foreign companies in connection with business activities that involve direct or indirect links with the USA. Like UK Bribery Act, the FCPA takes into account existence and efficiency of compliance program within a company. Like UK Bribery Act 2, the FCPA affects both individuals and companies and includes foreign companies. The US and UK laws can thus be regarded as counterparts of each other. So if your business is in UK, your business is in US, you have to follow this UK Bribery Act and FCPA Act. I'm getting a lot of questions in the messages, and when you can ask me questions, I think after I finish talking, I will open up the stage and you can ask me questions. I'm here to answer your questions. There are a lot of questions coming up, how to pursue international law. It will come up. So I'm just right now going through the legal systems of India, US, international law, and then we'll go into how to practice international law. So these are some of the international laws that uh, these are few of the international laws to comply or to abide by when you have businesses in various countries. Um, it is very important to go through these laws if you are practicing as an international lawyer in an international law firm. We can go to the next slide. We can stop here. If anyone has any questions up till now, they can ask, because from the next slide, I'm going to show how you can become an international lawyer. So about laws, international laws, US laws, if you have any questions, you can ask now. Rupsha, you can have them message, or they can talk one by one, whatever. And then we can go to the next slide. Zaina has raised hands. She can ask the question.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Yeah, thank you so much for the session. It was great to spend this precious time with us. But my first question to you is regarding the fact that what was the thing that helped you to get into the university in US for LLM? Like, what are the university looking for? Are they leaning towards education, your grades, or about the extracurricular activities or the internships that you've done in the past, or some other things?
So Zaina, it's a good question, but as I said, I will come up to that in my later slides.
All right.
But up till now,
Okay.
if you have any questions about what I presented about the laws of US, India, you can ask. And then in the later slides, I will get into how I got into law in US. So
All right.
if now you have any questions about the slide, we can go through those questions, and otherwise I'll move on. I mean, your question will be answered in my next slides. So
Sure, ma'am. Works.
anyone has any questions about what is presented up till now?
But what is the minimum imprisonment about with the cognizable offenses?
I'm
In a
sorry,
high.
I'm not able to hear you.
Ma'am, what is the minimum imprisonment or fine
Huh.
for cognizable offenses?
As I said, that depends on each state. So if there is a cognizable offense in New York, you go to the New York State Court, and the state court will try your case, and that's when there will be imprisonment, or depends on how the case is looked at. So each state has their laws, and each year the judges have been given in US, the judges have been given a discretionary power. So they have the right to look at the case, and they have the right to have to present a punishment or imprisonment or maybe fine. So it depends on each state. I hope
So,
that
ma'am,
answers.
yes, ma'am, which state is very lenient? Means maximum lenient towards the accused. Which state laws defines that?
So, so if I'll give you an example of landlord tenant. So New York is very tenant friendly, whereas New Jersey is landlord friendly. So in New York, like I had seen in COVID, the tenants were not paying their rents, and the court, New York court, had passed that since it's COVID, if they don't pay rent, if they are going through financial crisis because of COVID, or if they have any health issues, that is fine. So they are very tenant friendly. So this is one of the examples. So that's how I said each state have their own laws. Some states are in landlord tenant, some states are landlord friendly, some states are tenants friendly. New York is one of the states that is tenant friendly. I practice in New York, so I know New York states better than the other states. I hope that answered your question.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I wanted to know that if we are studying private international law,
Yes.
then how private international law is very different as compared to public international law. So what was your area of studying, and what should I, being a law student, should focus on, more private or public international law?
I went into private. Private comes into when you are representing private businesses. Public is when government bodies are involved. So if you represent government bodies, that means that is the public law. If you represent the private businesses, that is private law. So currently I represent a ride share company. I work in a law firm, and we represent a ride share company, a very famous company. I will name that company Uber. So Uber is a private company. So that's how the laws are divided. And how
Ma'am, yeah, please continue.
I did what to do, I will get that into the next slide. So how I navigated my legal career, I will do that at length in my next slide. Right now, I just stopped because now we are just changing the topics. Now we are going to go how I did, how you can do it. But up till now, I was just going through the laws. So if you have any questions about the laws, I can answer that now. And then if you have any questions of how to navigate your legal career in international arena, we can go over that as well. And we will have time. I know we wasted first 15 minutes navigating this, so I will stay for longer.
No, actually, I have a doubt that if we talk about public international law, mostly government are involved and government bodies are involved. So that
Yeah.
person became a government person, no? That individual and private individuals are practiced in public international law, no? Like
I'm sorry.
if we talk
I
about
can-
in okay, if we talk about India, India has been represented through a lot of advocate, and we know a lot of judges who have been represented India in international forum, or be it international ICC or any other platform. So that are
Right,
the government advocate, not they are not the private advocate that are
right.
in asked
Yes,
to.
yes,
That I wanted to know.
yes. So you call them, in India also, and here also you call them prosecutor. So you're representing the state if you're a
Yes, ma'am.
prosecutor. Yes. So if you want to practice that, you can practice that as well. So I will get into what and how you can practice in my following slides.
Definitely, definitely. Thank
Yes,
you, ma'am.
no problem. If there are no more questions, I can move ahead. Or if there are, I can answer. Okay, so I can move ahead with my
Ma'am,
next.
ma'am,
Yes.
earlier you told that the companies will prefer some for complaints. They will appoint the law firms and private law firms. If
Yes.
they in US, will they have scope for the IPR for trademark search and other things,
Yes.
infringement search like that?
Yes. So I also, in my international law slide, I also said that intellectual property is also one of the branch of international law. So if, for example, this is just an example, if you're launching a product and if you're launching that product in different countries, you will need patents, trademarks of all those countries. So you can hire a law firm that practices intellectual property law, and that law firm will guide how you can patent and trademark your products in the country where you want to launch those products and in the country where your products are there. So if you're expanding your product, for example, you have a product already launched in India, you're expanding your product in United States, you reach out to an intellectual property. Intellectual property is also a federal law. So each state, they don't have their own laws pertaining to intellectual property. So intellectual property is a federal law. So you can reach out to any international intellectual property law firm, and they will help you guide how you can launch your product with complying with US rules and regulations.
Oh, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, as in IPR is a federal law, there is
Yes.
also arbitration. They will be following some guidelines like Singapore law, ICC, ICA. Will it have a scope in US, ma'am? If,
Arbitration is not in US. Yes, arbitration is practiced. So it depends on, so this is very common in US that when you when you are drafting a contract for your client, if your client says that if there is any I think it's India also, you have that clause in your contract that if any dispute arises, the parties agree to resolve those disputes through arbitration. The same law, the same thing is in US too. So in New York, if you are representing a company like I represent Uber, Uber has that specific arbitration clause in their contracts. So they say that if any dispute arise, the matter will go to arbitration, and then we go to the arbitration. What I practice is, we usually say that we have arbitration law in our contract. So that's why all the Uber matters will be tried in arbitration, not in the state courts. Whereas the plaintiff wants to go to the state court because they don't want to get into arbitration. And that's when we show our contract, we present our contract, we go to the court, we say that we have a valid arbitration contract, and that's why this case should be transferred to arbitration. I am the Singapore law you mentioned, but I am not aware of Singapore law. I can answer about US. If that answered.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the reply, ma'am.
No problem. We can move forward with the next slide. And I think this is, most of you have this question. You can go to the previous slide. Rupsha, I want you to go to the, yes. Most of you have questions on this. So right now I'm just focusing on how from India you can come to the US. And I think everybody is Indian here, so that would be better. So as I mentioned about US legal system, that is state-wise. So to practice in each state, you need to follow rules and regulations of that state. So in order to be able to practice. So I said, I'm practicing in New York. So New York accepts foreign LLB, and New York accepts if you have done your LLB from India, from a recognized institution. I did my LLB from KC Law College, and they consider KC Law College Mumbai, and they consider KC Law College as a recognized institution. So they accepted my LLB. So since they accepted my LLB, I did not need to do an LLB here. LLB, what we call LLB in India, they call JD in US. JD is Juris Doctor. It's a 3-year course in order to become a lawyer. So if an American is trying to become a lawyer, he has to do a 3 years JD. I didn't do 3 years JD because my LLB was accepted by the New York Law School that I applied to. So once you provide your transcripts and they confirm that your LLB degree is accepted, you need to complete LLM from a ABA approved law school. ABA is American Bar Association. So American Bar Association has a list of law schools that they approve, that they are recognized. So you have to make sure you apply to an ABA approved law school if you're applying for LLM. LLM is a 9-month course. When you're doing your LLM on the side, you also start applying for the bar exam. The New York bar will ask for multiple documents. That's why it is always recommended that you apply while you are doing your LLM. They will ask your LLB transcript. You have to tell them, I'm still doing my LLM. They will put your LLM transcripts on hold. They will let you know that once you complete your LLM, you need to provide us LLM transcripts too. They will review all your documents, and then they will advise you whether you're eligible to sit for the bar or not. Usually, if you have LLB from a recognized institution from India, you are eligible to sit for the New York bar exam. To sit in the meaning to take the New York bar exam. So once you complete your LLM, you can take the New York bar exam. And once you pass the New York bar exam is a 2-day exam. They test you on various laws. 1 day is an essay day. They give you 6 essays, which you have to, in those 6 essays, they will give you a case law, and you have to apply the laws, solving or how you will try that case. So the first day is an essay day. They will give you 6 essays. You have to do 3 essays, then a break, then a 3 essay. The second day is MCQs day. There are 200 MCQs questions, and you have to do that in 6 hours. So that's a 2-day exam. I have never taken such difficult exam in my whole life. It was the most difficult exam because they are testing you on 18 to 19 subjects, and you have to take all the subjects in those 2 days. Once you pass that, there is one ethics exam. You have to take that exam, and there is one more New York law exam. You take that exam. If you pass all 3 exams successfully, then you have to give a character exam. It's not an exam, they call it as character exam. It's just that you have 2 practicing lawyers will have to fill a form for you saying that you are of a good character, you have not done any, you've not broken any laws or something. And then they admit you to practice law in New York. Once they give you that you are eligible to practice, they will give you a certificate and a number that you are eligible to practice law in the state of New York. You can start practicing. New York is one of the very few states that allows you to sit for the bar exam with only your LLM degree. New York and California. Those 2 states will accept your LLB degree because they consider your LLB degree equivalent to their JD in US. So you just have to do LLM and take the bar and you can practice. New Jersey is not that friendly state. So in New Jersey, if you are an international student, you are an international lawyer, and if you want to practice in New Jersey, you have to do that 3-year JD, sit for the New Jersey bar, and then you can practice in New Jersey. So I am not practicing in New Jersey. I'm not licensed in New Jersey, and I cannot practice in New Jersey. So I live in New Jersey. So if somebody comes with me with a case, oh, I have so-and-so dispute, can you help me with that? I cannot. And I have to tell them that I'm not licensed to practice in New Jersey. You have to go to a New Jersey lawyer. If you have something in New York, I can help you out. Somebody asked in the chat about California bar. California bar is also similar to New York bar. It's a 2-day exam. They test you on 18 to 20 subjects, law subjects, and it's the same process in California too. You can go to the next slide, Rupsha. So as I said, all states have their own regulations to practice law. I gave you example of New Jersey. I know about New Jersey because I tried to get into New Jersey law too, and I wanted to practice both in New York and New Jersey, but I couldn't because I didn't have US JD. So right now I just practice in New York. New Jersey is also very difficult state because some of the state like Texas allow you to, like if you practice in some other states for 5 years. Texas has that law that you can give Texas bar exam and practice in Texas. New Jersey still doesn't have that law. You have to take JD to practice in New Jersey. As I said, it takes 3 years to complete JD. I already explained that it takes 9 months to complete LLM. And I said, you can practice only in the state you are admitted to. The laws are very strict about that. Your license can get canceled if you are not licensed in New Jersey, you're practicing in New Jersey, or even if you are helping somebody, or even if somebody comes to you for consultation and you give them advice, but you're not licensed in that state, you cannot do that. Otherwise, they can just discontinue your license. And once your license is discontinued, your career is over. So that is one thing you have to be very, very careful about. I recently got admitted to practice in Supreme Court of United States. So if I get any cases for Supreme Court United States, I can go to the Supreme Court and practice, which is in Washington, D.C. I'm getting a lot of questions. I will answer each of them. I'm getting a lot of questions in the text, but I will answer. Let me finish what I'm talking. So to practice in Supreme Court of United States, you have to have the state bar admission. So I had New York admission. I am practicing for over 5 years. So you need to be practicing in any state for over 3 years. So I'm practicing over 5 years. You need to have good moral and professional character. So somebody needs to sponsor you. Sponsor meaning somebody needs to come with you to the who is of a good, who is a practicing lawyer, who is also in Supreme Court, has to come and sponsor you. I mean, tell that this person is of sound mind, good moral character, is a good lawyer, and please admit her in Supreme Court. My law college principal came with me, and that's how I was admitted in Supreme Court of United States. So currently, I am licensed to practice in New York and Supreme Court of United States, which is in Washington, D.C. Now I'll open up for questions because I'm getting a lot of questions on what I spoke about. So, and this is my email. So if anybody has any further questions, they can email me. I have a lot of questions. Rupsha, you want to read the chat, or should you want to have people ask questions? I mean, I'll leave up to Rupsha how I should answer the questions.
Ma'am, if you want to, then you can read the messages, or the ones who have questions, you can unmute yourselves and ask, ma'am.
Okay, you can unmute yourself and ask because there are a lot of questions on the chat. So first you can ask and then I can read the chat.
Ma'am, what is the eligibility criteria for this? Means education, age?
Age, there is no eligibility. As I said, admission is you need a valid LLB degree. That means your LLB should be from a recognized institution.
From anywhere in India, it will be permissible.
It has to be recognized from a recognized, like I did from KC College, and KC is Mumbai University. So Mumbai University is a recognized university.
Okay, fine, ma'am. And age bar, what about the age bar?
Ma'am, IELTS compulsory hai.
IELTS
exam.
TOEFL.
Okay.
Yes. You have to take.
Any scholarship? Any scholarship for Indian students?
You may get scholarship. So you have to apply to different colleges in US, and then you get the acceptance letter, and they may, seeing your credentials, if you have good experience in India, they may offer you scholarship. It depends on college to college.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, sometimes people say if any Indian student pursue LLM or from UK or USA, they are not able to find a job in US or UK in a simple way. They face a difficulties over there. How any Indians find a job over there if they want to settle?
That is one of the things. Yes, there are visa hurdles, there are visa issues, and yes, to get into the legal field, it's difficult. Why? Because you have done, American students have done 3 years JD. They have lived here. They know everything. You come from a different land. You just do your LLM for 9 months and you take the bar exam. You don't have experience in the US. So yes, the law firms would prefer American lawyers versus international lawyers. So just to get into your first job is difficult. But once you have the first job in your resume, things do become easy once you have experience. Like I started off, my first job I did was for free. I was like, you don't pay me, just let me come. I want just the experience, just to have that US law firm in my resume. I did my first internship for free. I, I was just going there to learn. So that first break is very difficult to get in, but once you get in, then it becomes easier.
मैम अगर हम ओके से एलएलएम करते हैं और हम वहीं पर सेटल होना चाहते हैं और कोई स्टूडेंट
मुझे आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
मैम if some student is pursuing LLM from UK and he wanted to settle over there.
In UK?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And he is finding a job over there after completing his or her LLM. How it will
Yes.
be?
UK, or I have not done in UK, but I have read about UK that UK you have to take a UK professional exam. Don't quote me on that because I don't know that. But yes, in UK also you have to study, go to a college, study their laws. I think there is one exam as well, and then you can practice in UK.
Ma'am, UK is better या Australia?
By UK, I would say to understand UK laws is better because you will find a lot of similarities in UK and India laws. So it will be better for you to understand. Where it is better to practice, UK or Australia, that I don't know, because and Australia, I don't know laws about Australia at all.
Good evening, ma'am.
Is there a list of recognized institutions
This is Yuvraj Kumar.
accepted by?
Two people are asking at the same time. Sorry.
My name is Yuvraj Kumar. I'm a student of law, and I'm pursuing a BLLB from Bundelkhand University, Jhansi. Ma'am, I'm a 7th semester. There is a subject international law. Ma'am, it is a little bit quite what we call dramatic. Ma'am, I want to know while studying international law, what approach we should have to while studying international law. Then we can easily get those concepts about international law.
What approach you should have if you have taken that
Yes, ma'am.
international law course? I have seen there are law firms, that international law firms like UK and in US, that let you work remote from India. You can do your internship remotely. So you should look for those law firms. So you are studying international law and you are interning as well. So that will be very good for your resume. So you should look for such internship opportunities that let you intern remotely. And there are law firms that let you do that.
Internship which is related to international law.
International law, yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Is there a list of recognized institutions accepted by ABA that we as students can access?
Most of the US law firms are recognized by ABA. ABA has their own website. You can go in there and check, but most of the law firms are accepted by ABA.
Okay, and then my other question is, what countries' university are to be preferred while pursuing LLM for international law? Like what country's degree is recognized majorly in the world?
Law is one of that practices that wherever you go, you will have to study. That is one thing. So, for example, if you go to Canada, you'll have to study Canada laws. You go to Australia, you'll have to study. Law is one of that you just cannot have. Even if I have 10 years of practice in US and if I'm moving to Canada, I need to get into Canada law school, study Canada laws, because each country has their own laws. You may have, if you have like good amount of experience in one country, you may skip going to school, but you will have to take that exam that lets you practice. So Yes, if you go anywhere, you will have to study something just to get license, uh, to know their laws.
Ma'am, for European Union, is there one bar exam or for all the countries there is different?
All the countries, that is different.
Okay, ma'am, thank you so much.
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Yeah, so again, my question is regarding the fact about the university thing that colleges in US look for when you apply.
What to look for?
Like, are the universities in US more lenient towards your education or your extracurricular activities or the internship that you've done for your
Yes,
BA?
they really look for the work experience. Like if you do your LLB and then immediately you want to do your LLM, I don't think so. They prefer that. You do your LLB, you work for some time in a law firm in India, get that experience, and then when you apply, universities accept that more than you being just a student.
Okay, ma'am. And what about if I want to work in the United Nations and stuff? Do I also have to give a bar exam and then work for it, or is it the other way?
United Nations.
Yes, ma'am.
There are some eligibility criteria for United Nations, and as far as I know, I think one of their criteria is you need to be a citizen. I'm not sure, but there are to get into United Nations, there are criteria. So you will have to
Yeah.
look up the site. Yeah, there are some
Okay,
criteria.
ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
And you want to take more guidance from me after. And
I cannot hear you. I'm sorry, I cannot hear you.
मैम अगर ये वेबिनार खत्म होने के बाद आपसे और ज्यादा गाइडेंस लेना चाहते हैं, हाउ कैन वी टेक?
Sure, I can help. Okay, any more questions? And
Good evening, ma'am.
good evening, yes.
I'm doing a BLLB, a 5-year course, and my main elective specialization is on consti human rights and in criminal law, forensic based or criminology based electives I'm doing, ma'am. I'm willing to
Okay.
do my LLM on these two areas, either human rights or in forensic law. But I couldn't find any universities that provide a specialization related to forensic, especially there is in forensic. If I'm willing to do my LLM in foreign-based universities in for abroad countries, and I'm planning not to just practice, but do a main I like to be established like an academician and a researcher. Can you guide me on that? How to find LLM colleges and abroad universities?
So you're saying you want to do your LLM in human rights and forensic laws?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can apply. There are LLM courses in human rights, and you can look into apply to those universities. And a lot of colleges in US have wide ranges of laws that you can practice. Like I did in corporate compliance, but there were like bankruptcy. There were so many areas. And it's not that if you take like I took corporate compliance, so it wasn't there that I can only enroll into there are various classes. So when I was doing my LLM, I got interested in immigration, so I enrolled for an immigration class. So once you apply and you get accepted, then you can choose your classes. But when you are applying to the college, you need to see what courses they offer. And if they offer one of the course that you are interested in, you can apply and then you can choose for that class.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, I have a question, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you are. There's a lot of
ma'am,
noise, but I can see you.
1 minute.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, if I need any help for admission regarding in future, so how I contact you?
I have shared my email. You can email me.
Hello, ma'am. My voice is not from my mic, ma'am. Now
You
it's
cannot
clear,
hear
right?
me? Your voice is clear now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I have a question regarding when we study here, after we complete, we shouldn't do directly LM in US, right, ma'am?
Yes, you need, I
Then,
prefer that you need to, I prefer in the sense
okay.
I have seen this, that if you have some good work experience, it becomes easier to get the
Yes.
admission.
Ma'am. So we should do intern or we should work, ma'am? We should intern, I mean, interning
Intern
in
and
cross-border
contract.
contracts.
I'm sorry?
Interning mean cross-border. I mean intern mean cross-border contract from foreign corporate companies like in trademark like that, ma'am. Or I should
So you
work in a private firm, just simply.
you should have some experience in practicing in India as well in on your resume. So yes, you should have practicing as a lawyer
Okay,
experience
ma'am.
that
Okay,
you
ma'am.
are practicing and going to the courts, you know Indian legal system. That is really
Okay, ma'am.
helpful to get the admission.
So they prefer prosecution over the going to the court in like arguments like
No,
litigation. They prefer litigation or prosecution, ma'am.
it's nothing like that. Even if you have experience in non-litigation fields, that is fine too. But you should have some experience in India as a lawyer,
Okay.
not as an
Okay.
intern, but as a lawyer.
As a Indian living in New York City, will they like racism? Any kind of problem will come in US, ma'am?
I have not experienced, so I cannot answer.
Okay.
I have never experienced that.
Okay, ma'am. Last question, ma'am. Will we want to change our domicile citizenship after we enroll our bar in USA, ma'am? We want to change citizenship from India to US, ma'am, after we work there.
So there is a lot of regulations of how you can do that. You have to first get a work permit, then you have to apply for green card. That's a whole process. So it's not that you pass the bar and you get the citizenship. It's a whole process.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, if you prefer New York or California for IPR and technology, fashion law, which state bar will be suitable for me, ma'am?
For fashion law, New York, I have a lot
Fashion
of
law and IPR, IPA rights.
IP rights also, I would say New York, because New York is the hub of a lot of companies, a lot of corporates. So IP law, New York has a lot of law firms practicing IP law.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your time and patience, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Good morning, ma'am. First of all, thank you very much for this informative session. My question to you is, how does US Supreme Court use international law to interpret constitutional rights such as liberty, privacy, and dignity?
How does US Supreme Court use?
International law to interpret constitutional rights such as liberty, privacy, and dignity.
So it depends on what context they are interpreting. So and on what individual they are interpreting. So if they are applying privacy law to an individual who is an Indian national, they will comply Indian, and that's what my slides said, that's where international lawyer comes into picture, that how do you comply with laws that apply to both the countries, and if the individual is a national of another country, or the business is incorporated in another country and they're expanding in a different country. So that's how they look into that way.
But when it comes to, we see for the treaties or conventions, India follow a dualist system, meaning international treaties or conventions are not automatically enforceable unless incorporated into domestic law. So
yes,
how does US Supreme Court works?
The US, for treaties and everything, it's a federal law. So US federal law will apply to US treaties. And as I said, the federal law is governed by the President of United States. So if there is a new law has to be passed, a president has to sign on that law. And it's a
Thank you,
federal
ma'am.
law.
Thank you,
Yes.
ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I want to ask, when you were preparing for the American bar exam, what were your strategy? Like you said, this was the most difficult exam you have taken. So, what was your strategy while you were preparing?
So I had enrolled in one coursework called Barbary. Barbary is you can say it's they help, they give you notes, they help you how to prepare for the bar. So they give you each day guidance of what you should study each day, how you should study. They provide a plan for you. So I took that course. It's called Barbary course. I took that course. That course is specially for students to prepare for the bar exam. So you need to, I did Barbary. I'm not promoting Barbary, but there are various such courses where you enroll into, and those courses, they help you navigate how to study for the bar.
Okay. Ma'am, one more question I have. How all this looks on the financial side, like doing LLM in USA and then the bar exam, like you said, the course you have taken. So how this all looks financially? Can a middle class, like I live in Delhi in India. So
Okay.
we are a middle class family. I'm doing my LLB from a government college. So how this looks financially?
I wouldn't comment on financial right now, but it is financially like the the professional courses in US, like law, doctor, if you want to become a doctor, they are expensive. And 1 year LLB was expensive. Plus, then you have to take into account the cost of living, taking the bar exam, preparing for the bar exam, everything. And then you also have to look into, as I said, to get into your first breakthrough is difficult, like once to get into the law firm. So you have to look all of those sides and then decide.
So can I pursue international law as an international lawyer from India, where it's more on supporting financial
So
outlook?
there are law firms in India, especially in metro cities like in Mumbai. There are law firms that practice international law. They have US clients. They guide clients in the US, and there are law firms in India as well where they practice international law. So maybe you should work in those law firms, get the experience, and then think about applying in US. I mean, I have seen law firms practicing international law in India.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving your wisdom. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Yes.
Hello, ma'am.
ma'am,
Yes.
LLM is specialization in USA, or it is again a mix of many subjects?
I'm not. I didn't listen. I'm sorry. I cannot hear.
Ma'am, LLM in USA, it is a specialization after doing LLB in India, or it is a mix of subjects in
No. So
USA?
if you have, for example, if you're practicing non-litigation in India or litigation in India, it's not necessary you do the same in US. So it
Ma'am,
is.
I understood, but like when we study LLB in India, we have many semester and many subjects. So my question is, we have many subjects in doing LLM in USA, or we just specialize?
No,
in
you
one
have
subject?
many subjects, and then some subjects are compulsory that you have to take. So, like US Constitution is one of the compulsory subjects that you have to take. So there are 2-3 subjects that is must that you have to take. It's compulsory, and the others you can choose
Okay.
as you.
And
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 you
ma'am,
also have
after,
the option to choose the classes. Like for
and ma'am,
example,
okay, yeah.
okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, ma'am. So after completing LLM in USA, and enrolling in the bar. Ma'am,
Hmm.
what would be the approximate pay scale? Because then only it matters, no, whether to move to USA or not to move to USA.
Can you ask that question again? I'm sorry.
Ma'am, once after completing LLM and getting the bar registration in USA
Hmm.
for the lawyers in any
Hmm.
state,
Hmm.
what would be the approximately pay scale? Because I know there cannot be a standard pay scale because there are 50 states, okay? So
Yes.
because upon which we can make at least our call whether to go to USA or not to go to USA, because there would be cost associated also while studying and staying over there.
Yes. So as I said, New York, just a second. As I said, that New York is one of the friendly states that lets you practice with your LLB degree. So you have to take that into account as well. So if you are going to some other state that does not recognize your LLB degree, you have to do 3-year JD, which is like very costly. So first you have to decide on what state you want to go, where you want to practice. New York is very friendly to international lawyers. As I said, once you have a US experience, you will get into a good law firm and you will be able to, make good money if you have good experience in New York. I think the same is in California too. California is also very international, students friendly for law.
Ma'am, so my question was that only what means, I mean, what we understand by good money.
That depends on the law firm and your experience and where you get into, what you're practicing. That has a lot of other variables too. So there's no specific money. It really depends on your experience. Where did you study from? Did you pass the bar? And what law firm you're getting into.
I'm right, but when we practice in India, maybe after 2 or 3 years or whenever we have a sufficient experience, even that time we will be in a good position in India, right? Then why to move to USA? I mean, that is the main question. Why to move to USA?
That I cannot answer why, because I'm just guiding here if you want to. I cannot give my opinions of why you should or why you should not. That's I think personal to each.
Okay.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, I just wanted to ask that do our grades matter in LLB while enrolling ourselves in LLM course?
No, they ask for transcripts. So you need your law college will have to give you transcript. They will not ask you for your mark sheets or anything. They will ask you for your transcript. So it really doesn't matter if you. It actually does matter to have good grades, but then you can still get into US law school with decent grades.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask that if we are already enrolled in Indian Bar Council, BCI, Bar Council of India, and at the same time, can we maybe enroll in US Bar Council also, or we can just enroll in one Bar Council?
You can enroll in US, you can enroll in multiple states. If you want to practice in multiple states, you can. Like I am practicing in New York, but if tomorrow I want to go to Texas, I have to take Texas bar exam and I can practice in Texas too. So wherever you want to practice, you have to take the bar exam of the state, and you can have multiple admissions.
Okay, definitely. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Like
good
I
evening.
want India and US both we can take the bar council, no? If we want, if we afford and if we want. Uh,
I'm not. I
please
think
mute yourself, sir.
two people are
Ma'am,
talking.
I want Okay, I wanted to ask that, for example, like if I already have a Indian bar council that license, then I can apply. If I want, then I can apply for New York also. And if, as you have mentioned, California and
But you have
after
to
this,
do
my
LLM.
LLM, yeah, I got it. Obviously, that any state need a
Hmm.
degree. That I got
Yes.
under.
Yes. So
So
you
we
have to
can do
do
that.
LLM. Yeah, you can do. You can have to take LLM and then you can, but you need a LLB from India too, from a recognized university in India.
I'm doing my LLB from ITU University, in the Trust University. It's a Delhi government state university. I hope
Yes.
it's quite a good.
Yeah, if you have to send your transcripts to them and they let you know if
Yeah,
that is recognized or not.
definitely.
Ma'am,
Thank
good
you so
evening,
much,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I want to ask that apart from affordability, like we Indians face racism, or like we are not, like they are, we are realizing them, the Americans, that we are a rich culture community and your culture is not very rich to us, and we
I
are
have
like
not
celebrating.
racism. I mean, I have heard people facing it, but I have not.
Ma'am,
Like where
actually,
I work,
social,
there are no
yes.
Indians in my law firm. I'm the only Indian, but I
Ma'am,
have not
on the
faced
Inst, yeah, ma'am, like on the Facebook, Instagram, and like WhatsApp, the videos are circulating that we are celebrating our festivals very loudly there, and they are frustrating from Indians. Americans are frustrating. Like,
I mean, that's individual. I mean, I have not, I would give my experience. I have not faced racism. And yes, if you live in any country, you have to like be civil in that country. And that's what they expect out of you. So, racism, I have not experienced here.
can you,
And
ma'am,
I
like
have
tell?
always, I go to the court also. I argue in front of the judges. I have still not never faced any racism in courts also.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, it is often told that if LLM is done in US or any other foreign country, it does not have any weightage in India. Is it true, ma'am?
I don't know if you do. Yes, I mean, to some extent, yes, that if you do here, take the bar and you go to India, Indian law will, unless if it's an international law firm where they have a lot of US clients, then yes, your LLM would be helpful when you come back to India. So it depends. If you really want to practice international law in India, you have a law firm that practices international law, and then you go to they have US clients, and your education LLM will be helpful to the firm. Yes, but if you want to practice local laws of India, then there is no point you come study in the US and then come back to India and practice local Indian law.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Hi, ma'am. I have a very simple question to you. How
Yeah.
widely are AI tools being adopted by legal practitioners in US for tasks like contract and brief drafting? And not to what extent is this practice considered ethical within the framework of professionals' responsibility and ABA modern rules?
That's a very good question. That's a great question. And I would like to enlighten on that question. So, yes, a recent lawsuit had been filed on a lawyer. He prepared his brief using AI. AI used case laws, case decisions that don't exist. When that case was heard in court, the judges couldn't find the cases. That, oh, these cases are mentioned in their brief, but I'm not able to find them. And then then they found out that that particular attorney or lawyer had used AI to prepare his brief. And judges passed that you can use AI, but you cannot prepare your whole brief using the AI, because the AI really messed up by mentioning the case laws that don't exist. And here the judges read your entire brief. If there are cases in your brief, they search those cases, they read those cases, and that particular incident or lawsuit had really become very famous in our practice, because we were being told that use AI, but don't just completely use AI to prepare your brief. If you don't know something, you can take the help of AI, but not. Your brief should be made by a human and not AI, because AI made up their own case laws.
Thank you, ma'am.
So yes, we don't rely too much on AI at this point. Maybe if AI will become more efficient in the future, we will. But at this point, it is not efficient in legal. I'm not talking about any other profession in law.
Right, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I had one more question. Doing criminology or criminal law LLM, like any subject related to criminal law, and as an Indian person, as an Indian aspirant who want to practice mostly in India and foreign as well, will be helpful for me or not? Because Indian criminal law and US criminal law are quite very different if you talk about.
Yes. Yes. So as I said, you need to have your plan. Like, what do you want to do? You want to come to US and practice in US, or you just want to come here and then just do a course and go back. So you need to have a plan. If you want to practice criminal law in India and you don't want to practice in US, then you should expand your resume or expand your work in India rather than in US. As I said, studying in US and then coming back to India will not give you more opportunities because of the laws. The laws are different everywhere. So India will
Okay.
see how much Indian experience you have in Indian law firms.
Okay, definitely. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, I have another question. Ma'am, as earlier, someone asked what is the difference between in a private international law and public international law. Ma'am, would you
Yes.
please again repeat it? What is the actual and real difference between that private international law and public international law?
So as I said, private is when the private businesses want to expand their businesses, or maybe if it's intellectual property, their products or whatever, that's private because they're private individuals, that private businesses. Public comes when the government gets involved, like treaties or government rules. So the laws are divided that way. The article which I asked you to read in my slides, that will give you more in depth of what is private international law and what is public international law. But public is the one that involves government, and private is the one where you have your private clients, maybe it corporate, be it individuals. I hope that answered your question.
Good
Thank you,
evening,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thanks.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I have one question. If we write research papers and articles and get them published in journals or something, and adding them on our CVs, will it help in getting scholarships in international universities?
Yes, you should. Whatever experience you should have in the CV, because it does help. Publications does help in US. So you should have that in your CV.
Okay, thank you, please.
So if that is all, we can end the session, and I have provided my email, and the PPT will be provided by Legal Vidya.
Ma'am, your mail ID?
It's there in my PPT.
Ma'am, your mail ID.
I have shared that with Rucha in my PowerPoint presentation. You will share my
Okay.
PowerPoint presentation. And
Okay.
that's
Thanks, ma'am.
all right. So Ruksha, is it good?
Does anyone else have any more questions?
I have a question with the legal Vidya. I haven't got my certificate for 1 month internship. So when will I get it?
What internship did you do? Analysis, research, internship, what? Which one?
Yes, I did an internship of the July month, and I haven't received it yet.
I'm dropping my number in the message box. Please DM me once.
Okay, definitely.
All right. I hope this session was helpful to everyone. I have provided my email. If you have anything, you can email me.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
It was
you.
a great session. Thank you.
Okay, if anyone else has no other questions now, then we can conclude the session. Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an enlightening and engaging session. I would also like to extend my gratitude to everyone who joined us today. Until next time, please stay safe and take care. Wishing you all a pleasant and peaceful evening ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.